Why am I so nervous? Yeah. Hi guys, my name is Ari. I am 23 and I have a bitch of a disease called endometriosis. Yeah, I'm creating this video and putting it out there for my own journey, a way to document the battle that I've been fighting. But I would really love to find a sense of community and, maybe connect with other people that know exactly what this is like living with endo. So I would love to maybe reach somebody that thinks that this could be a possibility for them. Maybe a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about sounds really familiar to you, and I'm telling you, if you think that this could be a possibility for you, go and advocate for yourself, fight for your right to get a diagnosis. It is so hard to get a diagnosis with this disease, which is one of the worst things about it, one of the hardest parts of the journey in itself. You have a right to a diagnosis. Don't stop, keep fighting for it. But with having surgery coming up in a week, I want to take this time to document my experience and my story leading up to this point. I have been battling this disease for as long as I have had a menstrual period. That started at age 11, immediately debilitating periods. Every single period was hell. And trying to understand that that is normal at 11 years old is really hard. Even at a young age, know that that's not normal, but everyone medically gaslights you. And even the people around you, to be called dramatic or this is being a woman, this is it. No, it's not. This is endo. This is a disease. This is a chronic disease that affects so many people. And yet there's such a lack of awareness, there's a lack of research, and there's a lack of medical care and help. And that's really frustrating when this is a chronic disease that is debilitating. The severity of it, infertility. You would think we would want more. You would think we'd want to know more. You'd think we want to do more. And, I know that we're in a different time now than we were 10 years ago, and I have a lot of hope for where the research and the medical professionals can take this, but that's not to say that there hasn't been a huge lack and almost neglect for the endo community. Endo has no cure. There is no cure for endometriosis, and I think that is one of the hardest pills to swallow. To have to live like this for the rest of your life, these lesions grow and they stick, and they can cement your organs together, which is crazy. I'm talking your bladder, your colon, all of your organs down there can just be cemented together. You can imagine the amount of damage that would do. These lesions bleed, and that causes internal bleeding, which causes severe pain and inflammation and painful sex and a whole list of debilitating symptoms. At 15, I started experiencing cysts on my ovaries. They would come and go, and I would be told that they'll go away, and some people just normally experience cysts with their periods, which is crazy. Crazy statement.
Shawty was not recording.
I'm just gonna have to backtrack a little bit. At 19, I had a cyst that caused me a great amount of pain, the worst pain that I had experienced up at this point in time. The cyst measured at 10 centimeters, so they decided to take it. Prior to going into the surgery, I expressed my concern for endometriosis. Knowing that my grandma had it and that it affected her really young, I knew that this was in fact a possibility for me. However, my doctor, the gynecologist that I had that was doing the surgery, was very dismissive. He didn't really entertain the idea of endometriosis much at all. And then coming out of the surgery, I was told that he had found no endometriosis. This was something that has never sat right with me, didn't sit right with me. I couldn't believe it. What do you mean? And I kind of reached a sense of helplessness and just not really knowing what to do. So I had given up in my journey at that point and just continued to suffer for years. And at this point, my ovulations were getting very loud, very painful. The entire window of ovulation. I thought that that was something more common. I thought that a lot of people knew when they were ovulating based off of what they were feeling and the pain. Turns out a lot of people have no idea when they're ovulating unless they're tracking it. So that was crazy to me to find out. But as my ovulations were worsening, so were my periods. And within just a few months after having my cyst removed, I had developed a new cyst. And when I went to the doctor, I was told that it was already rupturing. At this point in time, they said there's nothing you can do, just go home, wait for it to rupture. I was given 0 pain meds or anything, very little knowledge going into this, and I went home and I experienced one of the most traumatizing experiences ever with this disease. A ruptured cyst is crazy. I've never given birth, but I have heard a lot of women say that it is comparable to the pain that you feel while you're in labor. It's insane, and it's something that is just so brushed off and just looked at as normal. That's not fucking normal. Thank you. At this point in time, the gynecologist, the one that did my surgery, had me on the birth control pill as well as an IUD. He said that this was going to help with my cysts, and I thought that it was only making things worse, and he didn't believe that. And then finally, I demanded that it be taken out, and I remained on the birth control pill. And I kind of just lived like this in a state of suffering and just trying to survive for years of just cysts coming and going. At 22, this last year, I grew a cyst that was so painful. I thought that it ruptured. It didn't. My normal ovary, the one without the cyst, was measuring at a volume of 3 milliliters, while the other ovary was measuring at 49 milliliters. 49. That is insane. I truly cannot believe that in the terms of measurements, but let me tell you, boy, did it feel like it. At this point in time, I realized that I needed to get back up in my endometriosis journey of searching for answers and try again. Try a new clinic, try a new doctor, and I am so grateful that I went and I saw a new gynecologist, and her looking at my scans and my history and my list of symptoms, she clinically diagnosed me with endometriosis. She was like, I fully believe that this is what is going on, and she gave me a referral to a surgeon. Meeting the surgeon, I wasn't sure if this was the surgeon that I was going to go ahead and proceed the surgery with. I just had like a gut feeling that wasn't completely like 100% yes for me, and I really need that, especially when we're talking about my body and messing with organs that may or may not impact your ability to have kids. Endometriosis already causes infertility, and my biggest dream in life is to be a mom. It's the only thing that I have ever wanted to be. So to feel comfortable and being able to fully trust the person going in and performing the surgery was my number one priority. I ended up getting an MRI. My MRI strongly indicates endometriosis, and again, this was another victory point. This was another moment of justice for me. This is something tangible that I have not had in my hands this entire time. And then after receiving the results of this MRI, I decided, okay, I'm going to switch surgeons. I kind of put this off for a while. I became very avoidant. I thought that this was going to be a process that was going to be much harder than just a simple phone call and then seeing the new doctor 2 days later, which was exactly what happened. So I totally made that harder than it needed to be. But that's okay, because we're here and we're now and we're moving forward. And upon meeting my new surgeon, I knew this was the surgeon. And I feel really good about that. I feel really good going into the surgery in a week and knowing that I am in good, experienced, caring hands. I now want to dive into the list of symptoms that I experience with my chronic disease and the day-to-day things that affect me in my life. And a lot of these symptoms I didn't know were endometriosis symptoms until I began going deeper in my research, I would have had no idea. But the first thing is pain. Pain, 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 pain during your entire cycle. Anytime that there is a shift in my hormones or my body, things are moving around, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it all the time. The second symptom, I'm going to say one word, and if you have endometriosis, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Lightning. Yeah. Lightning butt, that's a thing, but not just lightning butt, lightning coochie, lightning crotch, lightning belly button. So when you have a lightning bolt sensation going up your ass, I also feel that within my belly. Very crazy. To explain fully what that sensation feels like, feels impossible, but if you know, you know. And you never know when it's going to come on. I will fully be at work doing my thing, and all of a sudden it's like, lightning. And to explain that to the people around me is crazy. The next symptom is urinary issues. This is a very big one for me. Not being able to hold much of my bladder. If I hold my bladder for too long, I am in excruciating pain. UTI episodes. This is where my body mimics the symptoms of a UTI without there being a UTI actually present. Bladder discomfort, bladder pain. Just not good. It's hard going to the bathroom. It is really hard going to the bathroom. The next symptom is inflammation throughout my entire belly. You've probably heard of endo belly. When you have the inflammation in your pelvis and your lower abdomen, but the inflammation symptom of this disease does radiate throughout your entire body, and you feel it. My periods come with clots the size of things that I truly can't believe comes out of me. I would sit there in disbelief, and I'm like, there's no way. When I first get my period, day one, when I first start bleeding, I am on the toilet for hours, just passing clot after clot after clot after clot. And that shit is horrible. Fucking, my iPhone keeps saying it's out of storage. It's really fucking annoying. I also had to pee. Yup. Like I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted, it's just hours of pain for me just sitting on a toilet and letting them drop. It's like laying a fucking egg. The next symptom is fatigue. This is a level of exhaustion that I have never experienced before, but that in itself is like fighting a war. When you want nothing more than to go about your life and live your day, but your body just cannot find a drop of energy to get you there. And that really does play a big part of my depression with this disease, which is another symptom that I have. Endometriosis is very commonly linked with depression. Endometriosis is not just the physical fight, but the mental one. It's really hard. And I think that the mental health aspects of endometriosis is not talked about enough, and I would like to talk more about this subject maybe in a different video in a longer sense. High chloride. I found myself in the emergency room straight from work one night because I got my period, and within 2 hours I was disoriented, feeling like I was going to pass out and not really knowing what was going to happen. And I had extremely high chloride, and I'm someone that drinks a fuck ton of water, so I knew dehydration definitely wasn't it. And the ER doctors very much medically gaslit me. In my medical notes after I went to the ER, they put that I stated I was having a panic attack, and I never once mentioned that I was feeling anxious or anything of that sort. So that was really, really hard, a really tough bottom to be at in this journey. But after doing a lot of my own research, understanding how your blood chemistry can be impacted by endometriosis, and that made a lot more sense to me, but that was something that I had to find out for my own. Once again, there's a lot of lack of awareness with endometriosis and the way that it impacts you throughout your entire body. And then flare-ups come out of nowhere. A lot of my flare-ups are at night, but they can hit at any point in time, and to have a flare-up, it's life pausing, it's debilitating. It's something that you just have to suffer through. I found a lot of ways to make those times a lot more bearable, and I'd love to share those at some point as well. Because of endometriosis, my life has changed in so many ways. A lot of canceled plans, a lot of calling into work or having to change my schedule based off of how I'm feeling, a lot of not being able to show up to the things that I would like to show up for. And sometimes when I do show up, I can't even enjoy the experience because I am in so much pain and discomfort. I have kind of lost my ability to do a lot of things that I love, such as hot sculpt yoga. That is one of my favorite things ever, and I have not been able to do that in a couple of months, and that's really sucked, but I'm very excited to get back to that when I can. Also, just like the need to prepare for any flare-up, prepare for whenever you're going to have your period or whenever you're going to be ovulating. Just my whole life kind of revolves around it. I feel like this disease has really taken so much from me throughout this journey, and it hasn't been easy, but they don't call us warriors for nothing. But I refuse to let this disease take over my life, and I'll be damned if I'm not taking it head on at a fight. I know that surgery will not take the disease away, but I know that I am going to find so much healing in knowing the official diagnosis of my chronic disease and knowing what stage I have. That enough is going to be so healing. I'm really holding on to hope that removing these lesions that I have will minimize or take away some of the day-to-day pain that I experience. Will it? I don't know. It's not a guarantee, but I am sticking out hope for it, and I am excited to see. Is there a possibility that I might not even have endometriosis? Yeah, maybe. Do I think that's true? Fuck no. I know in my bones that this is what's going on, and this surgery is just going to solidify that. In the case that they come back and say, hey, it's not endometriosis, then we're going to figure out what it is. My journey will shift, but that's okay. However, I'm not anticipating that, and I am excited to come back in a week and be able to have that clarity and confirmation and proceed on with this journey. Regardless of the outcome of the surgery, I will be given answers, and that in itself is something that will be a huge gain for me. It's what I need. If you are somebody that has gone through any of this, I see you, I hear you, and I'm sending love to you. I am so proud of you for getting up each and every single day and grabbing the day by its fucking balls and going after the things that you want in life, because it's really hard. It's hard physically and it's hard mentally. And to be able to do that, it takes a level of strength that a lot of people can't even wrap their head around. So yeah, this is my story, everything leading up to this point in time as I sit a week away from surgery. I do want to document that journey, whether that looks like a vlog or another sit-down video. I am excited to come back and share that huge part of my story. Thank you so much for listening, and yeah. Here's to not just healing, but living, because that's what we're going to do now. I have been stuck in a state of survival for so long, and I'm done with it. I'm done with it. I'm going to do what it takes to be able to get the most out of my life, because that's what I deserve, and that's what you deserve. Thank you so much. Bye.